They said she didn't belong on CNN. They said her accent was too strong, her style too soft, her face too foreign for American television. But months later, those same people were watching her every night and calling her their favorite anchor. What changed? How did a Filipino news presenter go from being mocked to being loved by millions? This is the story of how one woman's courage silenced the critics and changed the way the world sees Filipino talent forever. It all started on her first day on live television. The lights were bright, the cameras were rolling, and millions of eyes were watching from around the world. She took a deep breath, smiled, and began to speak. Her tone was calm, her words were clear, but her voice carried something different, something you don't often hear on American TV, a Filipino accent. It wasn't the typical polished sound that audiences were used to hearing on CNN. And within minutes, the internet exploded. People began posting clips, making jokes, saying CNN had lowered their standards, that she didn't sound professional enough. Others mocked her pronunciation, laughing at every little slip. But what they didn't understand was that behind that accent was a woman who had worked harder than anyone else to be there. She had spent years studying journalism in Manila, covering stories from the streets, working under the heat and rain just to tell the truth. She knew what it meant to fight for every opportunity to earn respect, not by how she sounded, but by how much she cared about her craft. While people were mocking her online, she was preparing harder every night, writing her scripts, rehearsing her delivery, refining her tone. Not to erase her accent, but to make her message stronger. Every insult became fuel, every laugh became motivation, and slowly something began to change. At first, only a few noticed it. Viewers started commenting that her reporting felt genuine, that her voice sounded calm in chaos, that she seemed to truly care about the people she interviewed. Her humanity started to shine through. In a newsroom filled with perfection. She became the anchor people trusted because she was real. She wasn't pretending to be someone else, she was proudly Filipino. And audiences connected with that authenticity. Her clips began to spread again, but this time for the right reasons. Her interviews touched hearts. Her reporting felt emotional yet professional. People said watching her was refreshing. It was like seeing honesty in a world full of filters. Soon, Filipino communities across the globe began sharing her videos, saying, "Finally, someone who sounds like us." On international TV, students in the Philippines started saying she was their role model. Parents told their kids to watch her to see what hard work and self-belief could do. The same accent they once laughed at became her trademark, her strength, and her identity. CNN producers began to notice the rising feedback. Her viewer ratings were climbing fast. Her engagement numbers were breaking records. People would send messages saying they felt seen, they felt proud. And that's when everything changed. She started getting more primetime slots, more interviews, more recognition, until one day during a major broadcast, something magical happened. The comment section wasn't filled with hate anymore, it was filled with love. People were writing things like, "Her voice is soothing," "She's the reason I watch CNN," and "Representation matters." The same audience that once doubted her had now chosen her over everyone else. This wasn't just about a journalist anymore. This was about representation, about proving that talent has no accent, that greatness has no nationality. Her journey became a symbol of hope for millions around the world. For every immigrant who was told that they didn't fit in, for every dreamer who was told they didn't sound right, for every Filipino who ever felt invisible. She became proof that you don't have to sound American to be respected globally. You just have to be excellent and authentic. But it wasn't an easy path. The pressure was enormous. Every broadcast felt like a test. Every mistake became a headline. Every word she said was judged, yet through all the noise, she remained calm. She kept her grace. She never responded with anger. She let her work do the talking. And that silence spoke louder than any argument. Months later, CNN did a viewer poll asking audiences who their favorite presenter was. The results shocked everyone. Her name topped the list, viewers said. She was relatable, genuine, and powerful in her simplicity. It was a moment that silenced every critic. Her success wasn't handed to her. It was earned with patience, discipline, and heart. She had turned mockery into motivation, rejection into recognition, and hate into history. Today, when people talk about her, they don't mention her accent anymore. They talk about her professionalism, her compassion, her storytelling. She became more than a Filipino on CNN. She became a global voice for authenticity. Her journey teaches us something powerful, that your uniqueness is your greatest advantage. That sometimes the very thing people laugh at is what will one day set you apart. She didn't try to blend in, she dared to stand out, and that's what made her unforgettable. The truth is, the world doesn't need more perfect voices, it needs more real ones, and she gave them that. She reminded us that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it speaks softly but clearly, just like her voice. The voice they once laughed at, but Now trust the most, they laughed at a Filipino news presenter on CNN until viewers chose her over everyone. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us. Never change who you are just to fit in, because one day the world will adjust to your sound. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video so more people can see it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about her journey, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this. Your support helps us keep bringing inspiring true stories to the world. Thank you for watching.